What up? Just gonna get this going. Just gonna share the link to Instagram. Internet's so slow when streaming. How you doing, Justin? Yeah, I'm doing all right. Just shared that to the Instagram story. I think I got I think I got the audio working today. Can you hear that? Just played a little chord there. Hey, Tiger Synth. Sick. Yeah, it was just a routing thing. I just had to route Logic out to. It's a bit of a thing. You have to create like a multi output device for your audio. So it's just about routing everything in the right way. But it also like I've got some stuff going out through the sound card, and I've got my headphones are plugged directly into the laptop because like it doesn't play nice with some stuff. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm just gonna make something. So I can do this like this. I'll just stretch Logic. How's that gonna look? Oh, there's so much lag on it still. Yeah, I'll just stretch Logic so it's smaller and I can see comments over in the sidebar there. So, yeah, I'm going to make stuff. If you got questions or you want to talk about anything, I can see you talking there on the side of my screen. But I'm just going to make something. I was thinking kind of like maybe a funk thing today. So, crack open. I just love the Lindrum. Logic's got this Lindrum kit that I love. CLA vocals VST. No, I haven't used the CLA vocals. I've heard of it. It sounds familiar. Let me Google it real quick, actually. The CLA vocals plugin makes the vocals part of the mix a joy. The most important part of any song is the vocals. The CLA vocals plugin makes this part of the mixing an absolute joy. I've taken the very best settings, which I use in my everyday mixes, and crafted them into this chain. It works great on all styles of singers, and best of all, they will want that sound every time. You also get 3 flavors of the top 6 effects you need. The right amount of bass, treble, compression, reverb, delay, and chorusing/doubling. I am using OBS. Yes, I am. There's so much delay, I almost just want to type stuff. So I guess I'll just try to talk while I'm making this thing. When I'm coming up with a drum beat and I don't know exactly what the groove's going to be with the drums and the bass, one thing that I've noticed is that the kick, whatever the kick rhythm is, uh, it obviously works best if it lines up with the bass. Maybe that's not obvious. There's a really good YouTube video where Flea and Chad Smith of the Red Hot Chili Peppers are talking about how the kick and the bass have to really like lock in. And so I feel like if I don't know exactly what the groove of the thing's going to be, like I don't have a clear idea of that in my head, like some kind of, bass melody type deal or whatever, then I I won't put the kick in when I'm making the drum beat. Like I'll figure out a tempo. That's probably like 90 or something. Yeah, that works. And I'll just put in hi-hat and snare, because if I put in the kick and I don't know exactly what the rhythm of it's going to be or what the bass melody is going to be, then I can't make it line up with that. And then it's going to direct the way that I hear the bass melody. And that's not always the most open way to write. So I'll just put in a snare and some hi-hats, just some, because those are more generic. They don't lock into the rhythm or the melody so much. So I'll just put that down. Now I got a little loop. Let's just lock quantization so all these hi-hats are super high, and then I'll double that, lower. Let's put a little 16th swing on it. Maybe that's too much. I'll pull up a bass. Hope nothing crashes here. Right before I started the stream, OBS quit unexpectedly. Something like that'll do. I don't like that. Real short note. so that slaps. All right, that'll do. Cool. So I got myself a little bit of a melody there. Now I can start to figure out the drums. So I've got just drum sampler going on here. So I'm going to split this up into 3 tracks, one for the hat, one for the snare, and one for the kick. And the first thing I'll do is just split up the mute the what I've got already. So now I've got the hi-hat on one channel and the snare on another channel. And I could think about how the kick's going to lock in with the bass. Let's put it down and then fix it after. There's something cool in there. Thanks, Zachary. Yeah, I mean, if you can't stick around now, like, I'm always answering DMs and stuff if you ever have any questions or whatever. Thanks for popping in, though. All right, let's lock velocity on the kick because I want them all to punch the same. And let's do some processing. Kick, Camel Crusher, British Clean. This this plugin no longer loads properly in my Logic because it's outdated. That's nice. Let's send it to, I use bus 1 for sidechain compression from the kick. So it's already got no output set, so I can just set that there. Get the bass. I'm going to use Track Spacer from Waves Factory. Set the input to the kick. Boom. That's too much. Let's tame that kick a little bit, turn it down a little, and maybe a transient designer. Hey, how you guys doing, Rewind and Jose? I'm just making a little thing here. Maybe this will end up being January. I'll turn up my headphone volume a little bit. Let's get cooking. Audio MIDI setup. I like that it's punchy, but there's a little bit too much. Ugh. That's kind of nice. All right. Oh, I can't complain. Just making a little thing here. Who knows how it's going to go? Homework. What middle of January? Okay. Homework. What level of school are you in, Jose? What kind of homework are we talking here? Are we talking like gym and math? Or are we talking like high school? Or are we talking like you have to read some kind of ridiculous thing about Nazi propaganda from a university elective? Okay, I mean, that works pretty well. Let's beat the snare up a little bit, Ashley. Camel Crusher. This is going to make it really loud. Ugh. Fun. My favorite thing about being in college was that when you finish college, you'd never have to go back to school again. Biochemical engineering. You do need a break. God, there's so much. Why is that snare so massive now? Well, that's too little. Ugh, I'm gonna go British clean on it. Doom, 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 doom. That's kind of nice. A little bit more. Actually, let's turn off this transient designer. I'm gonna bump the transient designer down a little bit. If you're not familiar with Logic because you use Ableton or whatever, the plugins all go here in order. Like in Ableton, you kind of got them from left to right along the bottom of the thing, so you just stack them in order. But the signal chain in Logic is from top to bottom. So this is the instrument here. You also get a little preview of the EQ up here and MIDI effects here like arpeggiators and stuff and setting. I never use that. But yeah, so everything basically goes from top to bottom on the signal chain. So the transient designer comes last right now. The EQ that I'm not doing anything with goes first. Camel Crusher second. And I want to add a gated reverb. Yeah, I almost always use headphones when mixing. I've got a couple monitors and they're just like, I haven't even set them up. I moved into this place at the start of January, which was exciting. And haven't set up my monitors yet. I'm still kind of like figuring out the soundproofing in this place. But yeah, I use headphones all the time anyway. The only time I ever use monitors is when I need to like walk around the room, which I love doing. I feel like my legs get really tired when I stand still. So that's been a kind of a thing this month. Anyway, let's hear how the snare sounds with the gated reverb and the transient designer after it. That's not bad. There's too much reverb though. Without, kind of tiny. There, beefs it up a little bit. Hey, that kind of works. Now that hi-hat's pretty stagnant, so let's compress it from the kick. Here's a fun mixing tip. One second. Here's a fun mixing tip. The hi-hats in that high frequency there, it's not a lot of stuff going on in the high frequency there. So you can kind of turn them down a lot because they're not competing with anything. So they can be quiet and still really effective. Like that's really quiet. I like to hit them a little bit. That's kind of nice. Yes. Yeah, it's the M50X. It's not the Bluetooth one, it's the cable one, obviously. But yeah, these are the headphones I use. These are the headphones I mix all my stuff in. I used to have a pair of Sennheisers, I think, and they had like the two bands across the top and then underneath that, the one that touches your head, and they were like wearing a cloud. I could wear those things for a month and not feel it. So these ones kind of press on your head a little bit more, but they're comfortable enough to wear for like 8 hours and not really be bothered by it. So I like these ones. They're comfortable. But the thing about the Sennheisers was there was like no bass in them. So I would like mix stuff and go listen on better systems and be like, whew, that's not what I thought it sounded like. But with these ones, I'm like literally never surprised. Like I've mixed stuff on these and brought it to clubs and festivals and played on big systems and stuff. And I'm never surprised. These headphones are great and they're cheap. There's like an inverse relationship between how expensive headphones are and how good they are. Like the most expensive ones are Beats and they're the lowest audio quality. And then these are on the lower end of the spectrum and they are quite good. Oh, I should save this. Oh, here's another handy tip. When you're saving stuff, can you see this? I don't know if you can see me saving it here. There's a delay on the video. When you're saving stuff, I like to number all my sessions. It's really, really just a wonderful system that I've worked out actually. So right now I'm saving session 81 and let's just call this Funk Stream because I don't care. But if you number all your sessions and then every export that you have include the number, like it's basically like having a little barcode at the start of your song. And then, you know, every time you work on something, export it with that number and put it into iTunes, like an iTunes playlist or something, somewhere that you can hear them all without having to open the session. And then if you want to go back and work on something later, like you literally just look at the number that you put on the front of it and go find the session with the same number. And so like titles change and stuff, but if that number doesn't change, then you're kind of golden. I've heard people not having the high end on a hi-hat, and then in a section that needs to sound brighter, they bring it in. That's a cool trick. Yeah, I could see that working, especially like drops and choruses and stuff. Bringing in some high frequency is like, that's kind of the whole game, really, is like opening things up in frequency range and stuff. If you listen to most pop songs, or really most songs, and you just listen for frequency spectrum stuff, like you're going to find that, I mean, this is obvious, but the chorus is the biggest section, and frequency spectrum is just one of many things that you can open up in a chorus. All right, so we got a little bass going on here. I want to take this bass here. Let's label this bass. This is the Scarby bass in Contact. And I'm going to try labeling, I was thinking about this earlier. I'm going to try layering this with the slap and thump bass in the Korg M1. I can't hear it. What's going on here? Is it too low? Yeah, it's too low. Make some of those. Ooh, I like how the short notes respond to the velocity being super high. That's not the one. Yeah, that works. How does that layer? Just knock the low end off one of them. Make that more natural curve. And let's lengthen that one note. Cool. A little bit of Seinfeld sort of slap and thump in there. Let's add a little bit of ambience. Maybe a sound canvas pad. Let's just scroll through some sound canvas pads. If you don't know the role in sound canvas, I'm always talking about this one. This is like all those video gamey, like old video gamey. I'm in E. Ugh. So many cables. It's kind of twinkly. Let's try some other ones out. Kind of like that. Sort of like human-y. What I need to find is that vocal pad that's got all the like, it's a Roland one because it's in my Roland piano, but the one that's got like the bop, dap, dow, all that stuff. Love that. So let's see, we're in. If anyone has anything to say, I can see the chat in the side here, so I'm actively engaging in this conversation. Maybe some kind of arpeggiator on this thing would be fun. Let's make that faster. And then some kind of echo. Let's make a space. It's kind of formless. Ooh, maybe we can get like 2 delays going in either ear. What do we have here? Do I have a delay that does that? Does this one do that? Right now I'm just having fun. I don't have any specific plans. I might kind of take it. I wanted to start with something funky, so I might do something that's got kind of a like a bit of a wah effect, like it's just resonance, but like a wow wow wow. And then I think I might take it to a kind of a spacey place. And then at some point today, whether it's on stream or not, I may come up with some words. I've been thinking about how stupid it is that like Elon Musk wants to take us to Mars, like it's, but like Mars is a cold, horrible, inhospitable. Did I lose the stream? For God's sake. Are we back? How are we doing? Okay. I lost connection there for a second. Anyway, I was just thinking about how Elon Musk wants to take us to Mars and how that's stupid because Mars is like a horrible, inhospitable planet for us. And Earth is, you know, hospitable to us, but we're struggling to keep it livable. So I don't see why we'd be able to do something on Mars. So I might do something with that idea lyrically, but otherwise I'm just making something fun. And sort of just going through making something. If anyone has questions about the production process, I'm here to answer them. Am I gonna have to do this manually? Earth is fun. Earth is the best darn planet in the solar system. Stereo delay? Ooh, here we go. Now we're talking. So what do I want? I think I want like a... and maybe an eighth. Maybe I want a 16th. And an eighth. Let's get some more. I like that sound. I'll leave it for after. Let's do something spacier. I've got these vaporwave sounds for Serum. Let's just mess with some pads and see what we have. Ah, so much character. That's too spacey. That sucks. Alright, well, let's do something funky then. So I'm just going to build something that's kind of got like a sort of a bit of a wah to it. But also a little bit of like a quick sort of claviness to it. Let's get more presence. Faster. Wish I could get more of that, like. Oh, maybe that'd do it. Octave. Just want to get it some more presence in the low frequency range. Let's get some modulation on this. Struggles. Dimension expander, messing that up. Ba ba ba. that maybe. Question. Genres like complextro, future bass, and similar. They're really cool, complex syncopations with a bunch of cool sounds. But even though you can hear all the things going on, I find it hard to produce it myself. It's no shortcuts, of course, but do you have any tips for producing such music? Yeah, complextro is tough, especially. Future bass I find to be a lot easier because future bass is like sort of hockety, you know, where you have like a bunch of different sounds combining to make an overall melody, and each one only like does a little chunk of that melody. So complextro is like probably the toughest one to make because of that. But like with future bass, I find it a lot easier because you've got like, you know, one sound doing the chord and one sound doing the melody or whatever. And stuff kind of comes in and out, but it's like it sort of rests on that as like a foundation. Whereas complextro is like the foundation is just kind of the drums, really. And then, you know, you have your forms like your build-ups and your drops and stuff. But everything sort of rests on top of that. So with complextro, I think like I've heard rumor that Justice, like they write their songs so that it all makes good melodic sense, and then they go back after and like sample replace everything in the melody with you know, just chunks of samples and different sounds and stuff, and that's how they get like a coherent written melody and like a written song, but also like manage to get a super complex like sound design thing going on. So that's definitely one way to do it. Another way I think is just having a strong idea of the melody you want to create, and ultimately it's just, you know, doing it a whole lot. I did it a whole lot and never got very good at it, and then future bass came along and I was like, oh, this is so much easier, because it is. Let's make this a little faster. You got it. I'm not a fan of that bass. Let's cut this down. Having never made something on a stream before, kind of takes your head out of the game a little bit. It's like a whole different thing trying to produce with people watching. Wow. All right. Oh, the first one didn't track. Do. Do, do, do. I think I can make those last couple chords a little cooler. Nice little modal change there. Da, 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 da. I have to get to E minor. Da, 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 dun, 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 dun. Maybe some kind of B, or maybe some kind of D. Da, 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 da. Maybe some kind of F. Do, 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 do. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Da, da. Da, da. Ba, ba. All right, let's add some percussion in there to spice up the drum beat a little bit. What do we have here? All right, so we're definitely going to do a clap on every second snare. And I think we should add a little I just changed it up, Mason. I was working on this junk over here. Which is, you know, it's fine, but I like these chords more. Once I get some bass under these chords, it's going to be popping. Actually, let's do that right now. That doesn't sound like the right roots. Tedious. What root's gonna work there? I'll work on the first half first. Ah. Oh man, so much swing on this. Come. Let's make it faster again. All right, I know what I want here. I want to save this, but also let's get a little vibrato stab. Wah. Let's turn that unison up. Ba, ba, ba. A little pitch on it, maybe. I want to do that. Faster. that's horrible. I don't want it to be so harsh. Why must you torture me so? Maybe that's not so bad. I could just do it slow. Not that slow. Ba-ba. Ooh, a little A major could be cool there. Ba-ba. I want that to feel longer. Ooh, maybe I could go from major to, or from minor to major and just give that a little. Ooh, that's spicy. That's too long though. So. Oh, right, of course. Ba-ba. Yeah, Jeremy, I'm working on a video game soundtrack, not as we speak, but sort of generally right now for an Xbox game called Echo Generation. It's actually the first real game that I've done. I've done like game jams where you like just hang out with a bunch of video game design people over a weekend. And, Jesus Christ, and make a video game just in that time. But yeah, Echo Generation is an Xbox game I'm working on with a team from Toronto called Coco Cucumber, who reached out to me super randomly. I don't know them or anything just because we're from Toronto. But that's out sometime in the next several-ish months. Too long. Gotta be subtle. Ba-ba. Maybe I could put like the tiniest little super obvious delay on this. I kind of hate that. Less. It's cool. It's almost like a little, like a gated reverb type deal. So Jeremy, the game isn't out yet, but they did like in December there was an early version of it, like a demo version available through Xbox. What up, Joey? And the demo version of Echo Generation, they wanted to use a few of the songs to promote it or something. Um, but there are 6 songs on my Spotify from that game. Yep. So often with my bass lines recently, I've just been like playing in the just the root notes of every chord and then drawing in what I like after that. It's just so much easier. Ka-dum, da-dum, da-gum. So square. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, doom, doom. Doom, 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 boom. Shorter. Why aren't you? What's going on here? There we go. Gum. Shorter. Let's take off that. Little. So this is the Joey, the Seinfeld bass. It's the Korg M1, and under bass it's just slap and thump. It's right there, nothing to it, and it's velocity sensitive. So like, the harder you hit it, the more you get that like slapping sound. Do 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 do. Let's take off. Once it gets above 111, you get that slapping sound. Hey, Gabby. I wish the snare was tighter now. Maybe I can even make it shorter. I used to be so good with Logic Sampler, and then they changed it. Is this the snare? No, it's a kick. That's the kick. For God's sake, where's my goddamn snare? I was so good with sampler and then they changed it and I'm still not used to it yet. There's my snare. Let's do one shot. Hey, now we're talking. Let's put a tiny, tiny little bit of... I used to have a mouth pop sound too, and then I had to change my laptops, and then I haven't moved on my samples ever yet. Irritating. I should just record them. That's what to do on a live stream, right? Just record yourself tediously making a bunch of mouth sounds for yourself to use in stock. Hey, it's a little tighter. I wonder if I have any beatbox sounds. Where's my sampler? I've been doing that a lot on my album, which is coming out this year, first single at the end of February. Just using like just mouth sounds, but like sampling just a ton of mouth sounds and then playing them like on a keyboard. It should be like beatboxing. The old Logic had beatboxing sounds, mouth sounds. Well, I don't see any. What's Laser Battle Kit? That's pretty weak. Actually, you know what would be really cool? I found a little while ago in Contact. There's this instrument in Contact called Concrete. Can you see that? Where you have, oh, what was it? It was like Epson kit, like the printer. Epson kit. Boom. Can we see this yet? So random. For the people watching, is it not showing my plugins? Is it just showing like the main Logic screen? It doesn't show any of the plugins I open? I'm just looking at it now. I know there's a lag, so maybe it's slow. Window capture. Oh, that's kind of random. And unfortunate. Oh, it looks like it's not showing any of my plugins. Well, that's great. That's just another technical difficulty for me to figure out. Well, I'll talk you through this then. There's an instrument called Concrete. It's a Contact instrument, so you have to have Contact. I think you can get a free version of Contact, but there's an instrument called Concrete, spelled with 2 Ks, that you can get, and it's a sample-based instrument for Contact, obviously, which is a sampler. It's by Sonic Couture Concrete, and it's just got a bunch of samples in it, but like, this is the Epson kit, so it's all sounds made from like an Epson printer. And I find them just to be like really sort of outside the box and interesting samples that sort of get the creativity flowing. But more important than that, it's got this feature called Focus Map. And when you pull it up, like it shows you a little picture of the sample, and then right next to it is a few buttons, and one of them says Focus Map. So this is a sample. If I press Focus Map, so if I go up and down the keys without pressing Focus Map, you can hear it's a bunch of different samples. But if you press Focus Map, it like takes your sample and drags it across the entire keyboard, so you can kind of turn that on and off. So if you find a sample that's got some pitch to it and you want to play it as like a keyboard instrument, then you can just flick on Focus Map and then flick it off and you've got your samples back. And I just think that that's like the best idea I've ever seen in a sampler, because I want to do that all the time and I have to like export the sample. Where's this track going? Let's do a little run in there. I don't know about this one. I feel like I'm kind of... Creativity is a weird beast, but I'm getting more and more aware of it. I feel like doing the live stream at the same time kind of is like invading my creativity in sort of a weird way. But that's just something to get used to, right? Let's pull up Massive. I'm going to have to figure out how to get my plugins to show. I'll just make a little lead in Massive here. String fall stab sound common in disco music. Yeah, I do. I'll make it for you right now. Give me a second. No. What is it? Session strings. Is this the one I'm thinking of? In session strings, the contact instrument, they've got specifically that sound. It's called M-Town Glissando Down. I use that in the game, just as an octave. Hey, how's it going? Just making a track here. Got a little string thing going. But yeah, if you're looking specifically for that string sound, session strings, the contact instrument. I don't know if it's included native instruments, but yeah, it's great. How to turn the reverb off? Vintage room. Yeah, I don't know. I've never made a track on a live stream before, Mason. So, well, you know, say yes to life. It's whatever. If this doesn't end up being the track today, it kind of feels like kind of bland. I don't know. Maybe it's just that chord patch. I find that chords instantly make things sound more bland. We could try arpeggiating it maybe or something. But chords instantly make things sound more bland. I remember getting a whole download, like a torrent thing of early Sophie tracks that were never released. And they were like Lemonade was one of them, but it had like a chord thing in it. And it was like, it's kind of, it doesn't hit. And the main difference between that demo of Lemonade and the release version of Lemonade, which sort of changed the game, I think, in a big way, was that the chord patch was taken out. And it was just sort of, you know, like occasional stabbing, just a chord thing. But it's just like there's something about a chord, like just a chord sitting there in the middle of your mix that just makes things sound so typical. This already sounds better with it arpeggiating. Let's mess with the settings. Swing, swing. Where's my swing option? Why does that sound so bad? Just the sound, like the sound design of it. Thomas the Tank Engine vibes. What this really needs is to be loud and have a compressor on it to push it down some of the time, give it some more dynamics. The number one thing that ruins a mix is things not having, it's not necessarily dynamics in terms of loud soft, though I guess it is in a way, but just like things that sit still and aren't dynamic in nature. It just it makes things so boring. I don't remember the Thomas the Tank Engine theme slapping that hard. I remember Postman Pat and his Black and White Cat has a little bar of 2 in it that's really nice in an otherwise 4/4 song. But yeah, the sounds that aren't dynamic, like don't have something to give them a little bit of character, like that chord patch just sitting there like this. Actually, that's not too bad when I shorten it like that. But the arpeggiator on it, makeup game. All right, let's syncopate this chord a little bit with the bass line. Doom, doom, gump up. Ooh, spicy. Bump, 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 bump. Let's just do like a... Bump, 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 bump. Dun, dun, bump, bump. Okay, this is where it dies because it just sits there with nothing in between. Yeah, it needs some junk in there. All right, let's do something. Ooh, that's kind of nice. Oh, what just happened? Don't like that at all. Dun, dun, bum. Duck, duck, bum, bum. Higher. Dum, ba-dum. Can you even see my MIDI? Oh, you can't even see my damn MIDI breakout window. How? OBS. That's so frustrating that I'm like in here drawing MIDI and you can't see it. How can I? Video capture. There's a window capture. Piano roll. Hey! Okay, so I guess every time I open any plugin or whatever, if I want you to see it, like, here's what we're looking at with the chord patch. Okay, so at least you can see the MIDI now, which is nice, because it's so frustrating. It took me that long to realize that you couldn't see it, and then took me even longer to figure out how to fix it. But second stream ever, let's do this thing. Dun 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 boom. Da ba dum ba dum. Da dum boom. I don't have any other windows open. How do I do that? I'm going to do that. Let's figure this damn thing out this very second. Turn that off. This. What window am I sharing? share OBS. Dock, desktop picture. Well, that's just a picture of my desktop. That's nice. Window server desktop. That's just nothing. So good. So good. Why? Why is OBS like this? Display capture? Oh! Where? Display capture? Oh! Holy smokes. Boom. Okay. So there's YouTube Studio. But is this like... Now it looks like I've got a problem with the aspect ratio. If you see the same thing that I see in YouTube Studio, then like I'm seeing just a tiny little portion of my damn window. So this is probably another OBS issue. Display capture. Settings. Crop. To window. Well, I don't think that did anything. Manual. Oh, like it's zoomed in OBS. Oh, I see what you're saying. Just drag this whole thing. This is a whole goddamn fiasco. All right, there's my little screen. Do that. Oh, yeah, typical, of course. So then you need to be up there. Ah, I should have watched more tutorials. Is that it? Is it working? Looks like it's working to me. Holy shit, we did it. All right. Hopefully there's nothing else ridiculous. Now I can do what I have to do and focus on the MIDI. I want to copy those last two chords onto the like phasey. Too much reverb on that though. Is this all the reverb? Let's just make it shorter. It's kind of nice. Bottom. That doesn't swing very hard. What's wrong with that? I like the rhythm, I think. Ooh, that's kind of cool. do some modulation, automation on those last two chords. The modulation obviously controls the vibrato, like any good synth patch. Hey, that's tasty. Fucking Logic. The thing I hate most about Logic, for anyone who doesn't use Logic, is that when you're doing automation in this breakout window, you have to be real careful, because when you go down to the bottom, sometimes, not right now, the horizontal scroll bar comes up. Very frustrating to me. Cool. There, we have a loop. Thank God. Yesterday's track took me less time than this took. How long have we been going here? Does it say? Where does it say? I started at 2, so it's been an hour and 20 minutes. All right. How's everyone doing? What are you guys up to today? I'm just hanging out. I need to get more comfortable doing live streams. Conversational. I should smoke weed. The day I discovered that my favorite virtual instruments are the ones from the 90s, everything in the world made sense for a while. Hey, Joey, which are your favorite virtual instruments from the 90s other than Sound Canvas and the Roland M1? If there's anything else, I want it. I actually have a friend, Peter, who he like buys the old boxes of sounds from the 90s, like the physical, it's like a thing that you could screw into a rack. It has all the samples in it. He's like taking those systematically, I guess, and turning them into VSTs, like sample instruments. Yeah, same. Is that my hi-hat? Where's my hi-hat? It's been bothering me this whole damn track that the open hi-hat is so quiet. So I'm going to fix that right now. First off, select all muted. Boom. Boom. Mute you. Delete you. Did I just duplicate this track? Hope so. What was that? That's a lot of tail. It's a suspicious amount of tail. We're going to make you a one shot. Ugh. That's better. All right. Oh yeah, I bleached my hair yesterday. Oh, weird. Weird coincidence. It's yellow now. That Eminem lyric where he says his hair looks like a corn pop has been just in my head all day. It was supposed to be white, but you know, the first lift it lifts what it lifts. This needs some Camel Crusher to make it heavier. And now, so the open hi-hat doesn't sound the way I want it to, so I'm going to make it sound the way I want it to. And the problem is that it's got too much attack. And I don't like that. I want it to be sort of a s. All right, so now the problem that I've got is that the kick, which is this, isn't lining up with the bass. Christ. Successfully connected. Hey, we're back. He uses my music in his videos. Oh, wait. Did I miss something? So... Oh, the one I worked on with Andrew? I mean, it's hard to say because that was like a year ago. Um, but like every so often, like the first stuff that I was mixing when I went to his place was like Sparkle Mountain and like a few other things. His stuff is like he makes so much stuff and like compiles it years later. So it's hard to say. I doubt it, kind of. Like I don't think I think it was fun to make, but neither one of us, and I don't have, verbal confirmation from him or anything. I don't know how he feels about it. But I felt like it wasn't like either of our strongest work really. So it's hard to motivate yourself to like go back and finish something. But it's unfortunate because so much of the time, like I'm not super excited about something, but someone out there has heard this thing and is like, this is sick. I want to hear more of this. And I'm like, moving on. So I don't know, unfortunate artist listener thing. Don't worry, when artificial intelligence takes over and like starts making all our music, it's going to be a totally user-based experience, and you won't have to worry about flaky artists not doing what you want anymore. Thank you. Obviously there. Hmm. Yes, Chris. Adversarial neural networks. GANs, general adversarial networks. So, if anyone doesn't know about GANs, general adversarial network, oh God, what have I done? It's basically two artificial intelligences, and there was a sort of famous one that made Rembrandt paintings, and it's two AIs, and one of them has the task of creating Rembrandt forgeries that fool people into thinking they're real Rembrandts, and then the other one has the task of detecting Rembrandt forgeries, and they just go back and forth. Like it'll create a forgery and it'll detect the forgery, and they just go back and forth basically until the detector can't detect that it's a forgery, which is horrifying. And obviously, it made eventually paintings that looked indistinguishable from genuine Rembrandts. So that's a general adversarial network, which is terrifying because it makes so much sense. But the more terrifying thing I think about general adversarial networks is a thing I heard about Facebook's. They had one running some whatever task, and it's going back and forth. And it had some task. I don't know what the task was, but its task was not what it did, which is to create its own language to make going back and forth between the two AIs more efficient. That was not its task. Its task was some menial like data thing, but the two AIs came up with their own language that sort of was like evolving, and it started out as a shorthand from the commands that it had been given to communicate between the two AIs, and then very quickly evolved into something that was not that, which is a little horrifying because these machines are smart in a way. They're not like general intelligence smart, but they're smart in a way that allows them to say make their task go more efficiently by coming up with a shorthand language for themselves. And as soon as we develop AIs that are talking to each other and we can't understand what they're saying, it's a little scary. Yeah, that's a little scary. I was thinking about that, and You train it on an album or something, and it might create new music in the same style. Okay, so that's interesting. You can actually already do that. Google has an open source AI called Magenta. And in 2017, when I was working on my AI concept album that I haven't finished yet, um, I was using Magenta to make music. And it took a lot of CPU. So I would have to like choose a bunch of what it does is it's just an AI, doesn't know anything about music, and you give it a bunch of MIDI files to train on. It trains on MIDI, and it just looks at the MIDI files of melodies or bass or whatever you want to train it on, and it just detects patterns basically, and then I would train it like overnight because it took all damn night with my laptop like running with the fan going really hard to train on a bunch of MIDI files, and then the next morning I'd like go over and uh, just generate 10 MIDI files and see how it worked. And if it didn't, I generated like 100 MIDI files and listened to them all, and they were all kind of chaos. Then I'd run it again the next night just because it takes like 8 hours to train. And after a few days, you tweak the settings just so, and it makes something that sounds not like chaos, but more like music. It's a little bit of Library of Babel. It's a little Library of Babel because mostly what it makes is chaos, and every so often you get something that's like, oh, that's kind of music, that's cool. But it only generates MIDI for now. They're starting to work with synths. The N synth has a wavetable synth sort of constructed inside it now, so it can listen to a bunch of violin, for example. Andrew has a video about this because I showed it to him. You can like train it on violin, for example, and then sing a melody and run it through, and it'll play it as though it's being played on a violin. It changes the sound of it with a wavetable synth to sound like a violin, and it emulates finger noise like on strings and stuff. It's a little scary. But yeah, I was using that for a little while to generate melodies, and it's kind of like I had to use Terminal and like install Python to do it, and I didn't know anything about that, so it's a steep learning curve. But we all know that it's only going to get easier to do, and eventually we'll all be able to make super professional music like with an Instagram filter. You know that one where you take a filter or you take a picture and you like it's like a painting simulator, where you just like select the painting style and you just drag the thing side to side. You'll be able to do that with music. You'll be able to be like, more electronic, more metal, like happier or whatever it is, whatever parameters you get. And it'll generate perfectly professional music based on your weird idea of like combining the sounds of birds with the Beatles and Radiohead and Jacob Collier. And it'll create something that sounds to all our ears like that, but that is entirely new. Imagine one day you could be like, I want more Pusher, and AI can create something in your style. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm sure that every artist has not every artist is thinking about this, obviously, but I'm sure that every artist is like, goes through the thing where they're like, I played a song on a stream one time, and now everyone's always like, oh, they want this song. Charlie XCX is always like, oh, you want to hear this song that I did, or Sophie gets that a lot, like this song that I played once on a stream or played in a show one time, and like, is it Taxi? Everyone wants to hear Taxi now. Or like, I have people say like I wish there was more, future based 2014 Pusher stuff or whatever. With AI, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to do that. So that's kind of wild. You could just like, I don't know, drop in some of my old stuff and then temper it with some like Wave Racer and 813 and Night Cruise and Cosmo and what are they called? Cosmo's Midnight now? They used to be called Cosmo and Pat. But yeah, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to just simulate whatever music you want to hear, Why not just like drop in every Beatles album and even give it chronological order or something and be like, what would they have done after Abbey Road? Yeah, AI, horrifying. I think, the question about it, because I thought a lot about this though, and I don't want to be depressed about AI just taking over the future of music, though I do see music becoming more of a utility. Hopefully basic monthly income swoops in and allows us all to live decent, happy lives. And just focus on making art and not focusing on trying to generate revenue from art, which I think is kind of whack anyway. But the thing that I think about it in the longer term, like imagine AI takes over and it's in the top 40 and all the commercial music and all the music and movies and ads and stuff is taken over by AI, and like Universal Studios has bought all the other studios or whatever, and there's only one studio now, and John Williams is dead, but they've just trained it on his likeness, and his family maybe hopefully gets some kind of royalty from that or whatever. But imagine that there's just no place in commercial music for people to make music anymore because AI is so much better at it. Like, there's still going to be us, unless it kills us all. There's still going to be us. We're all still going to be here, and we're all going to have some kind of emotional response to AI doing that to us. Like, there's always going to be something to write about. There's a really good book called The Most Human Human, where every year there's a Turing test at like an AI convention, and the author talks about the Turing test, and what there is it's basically like volunteers from the crowd go. He goes intentionally, but normally it's just random volunteers at the conference go and do this Turing test, and you have people in 2 different rooms or whatever, backstage or whatever, and some of them there are chatbots and there are humans talking to a panel of volunteers, and the panel have to decide if they're talking. They have to try to figure out if they're talking to chatbots or humans. And at the end of the convention, there is an award given for the most human machine, which is the chatbot that tricks the most people into thinking that it's a human. And that's kind of the point of it. Like, an AI wins every year, and the team that developed the AI, they win every year. But there's also sort of a joke award, but this is the award that the author really tries to go for, which is the most human human, which is the human that through conversations with other humans is able to convince the most humans that they are human rather than a machine. So it's a tremendous book. And what he talks about, and my point for saying all this, is every time an AI does something, it feels like it's stealing from us something that we do. So, like coal miners, big hot button issue, losing jobs to automation. Let's just imagine some kind of machine taking away jobs from coal miners. Well, people do associate with their jobs pretty strongly. And so we feel like machines have stolen something from us. Some people have been misled into thinking that it's immigrants that have stolen their jobs, but that's stupid, and we all know that. We feel like we've lost something to machines, but when we get past that, what we learn, and what this book is trying to say, is that it doesn't steal something from us. It helps us rethink what it means to be human. Like, we think of drawing this circle around the things that are human, and all the things outside of it aren't human. And so every time a machine does a new thing, our circle gets a little smaller and a little smaller. And, we're led to believe that in some kind of Terminator-esque nuclear apocalypse, we're going to eventually see that circle be reduced to nothing, and the machines will take over, and we'll just be batteries or whatever, which is actually impossible. The Matrix thing where we're batteries doesn't make any sense, because you can't put more energy into something, or you can't take more energy out of something than you put in. So they're losing energy feeding us and stuff. Yeah, so we're like worker bees now, and one day we might just get to hang out. That's that fully automated luxury capital, or fully automated luxury communism, where the machines just do everything, like the spaceship in WALL-E. But when machines are making top 40 music, maybe it's going to force us, this is my hope, it's going to force us to rethink what it means to make art, what it means to make music. Because like, it's not a secret that like when you listen to a Rihanna song, like most of the vocals on it may not even be her singing it. It's some Bonnie McKee or someone. So like, that's kind of a business, and there's formulas to it, and people aren't the most creative a lot of the time when they go into pop music. Like, every so often someone does something groundbreaking that changes the structures of pop music for a few years. Like, Lean On is the example I always use, and then after that everyone was using the slow EDM kalimba. But like, maybe when AI is making some kinds of music, it's going to force us to redefine how we create value in our art for each other. And it's going to, maybe it'll take away our ability to make tons and tons of money with it or whatever. Maybe it won't. I don't know how that's going to work out, but I think that rather than stealing away from us all music, it's going to offer us an opportunity to learn something about ourselves and the music we make. And I think that that could be tremendously insightful. Doo-doo-doo. Yeah, I wish I could just work on music. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Every January, I have like an existential crisis because it's like, why am I doing this? I'm just so like face to face with making something and posting it and seeing how it does, and the next day making something else, and playing that game like, should I let the success of one influence the writing of the next one? So I do tend to think about these things more in January. Oh, thanks. The political songs. Yeah, sometimes I'm feeling thoughtful and I want to make a song about it. Uh, I mean, January is just an opportunity for me to try stuff. Like, nothing on the album is like rappy, but some of them have been more like, or spoken word or whatever. I think there's a lot of people that agree with it. So I'm pretty safe, like, in left wing politics these days. It's a pretty safe place to exist. Even if machines can replicate art, it won't really help with understanding it. I think it's amazing that there's something about music art that is so moving, powerful, but we don't really understand. Yeah. There's a really good documentary I should mention also called AlphaGo. It's just on YouTube. You can all watch it on YouTube. It's like an hour and a half or something, documentary. And it's about AlphaGo, which was I want to say Google DeepMind thing that they trained to play Go, like the Chinese game of Go, with the board and the white and black sort of little pebble things. And Go was for a really long time considered to be too complex for an AI to learn. And so people kind of wrote off AIs as being like bad at it. But of course, people are always making AIs better. And it was basically just a documentary about the machine that first beat like the best Go player in the world at it. And it's a really lovely little story. And there's also an article about that and about what's happened to chess since Deep Blue beat Garry Kasparov in 1994 at chess, beat the Grandmaster at chess. There's an article that I found that mentions both AlphaGo and Deep Blue. And what it's done to chess is, I think, really interesting. And I think that it's going to have a lot of bearing on art, music, what I do, what a lot of artists do, moving forward as AI starts to take over those realms better. And what's happened to chess is basically, after 1994, chess was ruined. Like, there's a machine that no grandmaster in the world can beat at chess. And it ruined the game. But now, after some time has passed, and we've had some time to think about it, what chess masters and advanced chess players, and any chess players, I guess, could do this, is they're changing some things about the game of chess. So what it used to be when Garry Kasparov was beaten by Deep Blue, what a game of chess normally between grandmasters would be is 50 to 75% of the game is played by rote. It's memorized. Everyone knows the moves and the defenses, and you just get to that last 25, 50% of the game where it starts to get creative and interesting. And that, I think is sort of what has happened to art or pop music anyway, is a lot of it is just by rote. We're making house music with whatever female vocal on it, certain tempo. Calvin Harris has his formula, like it's formulaic. And that's good for selling it, but I don't know if that's like interesting musically. And a lot of people love it. I don't care. It's all good. But what's happened to chess since then is people have variations on the game now. Like if you set up your pieces in even a mildly different configuration, everything that you could do by rote for the first 50 to 75% of the game evaporates. And you are forced to play a creative and interesting game that is not bound by the conventions and the rules and those things that everyone's memorized. You are forced to play creatively. And I think that is lovely, actually, and instructive, and it offers us something as we move forward into a world more and more dominated by potentially general or super artificial intelligence. Even if machines can replicate, yeah, a world where you can make art for happiness and not have to monetize your passion so you don't starve. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, if our necessities are handled like, if when you sit down to write a song, there is no consideration in your mind at all for will this make money, it's going to change everything. Like it, I have to actively fight those thoughts. If I sit down to make something and I'm like, what am I going to do here? Or if I'm like on a stream, like it changes the way that you're creative and you're thinking differently. And that's going to change your outcomes. And if you're thinking about money, it's going to change your outcomes, I don't think, for the better. Kasparov. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Edward Normal Hands. And then Gary Kasparov ran for, is it president of Russia against Putin just this last election? I saw his name and I was like, surely this is not the same Gary Kasparov. But it is. Chess Kasparov was running for president of Russia, or whatever they call it in Russia. Yeah, yeah, I agree. What up, Time Glass? What was I making here? I've been on for like 2 hours. I know it says this somewhere. Where does it say this? I just know what time it is. 1:45. I was just like, I didn't even watch Edward Scissorhands again. I was just remembering him like trying to open a doorknob with his scissor hands and struggling a lot. What am I making? Welcome. If you're here for Edward Normal Hands, the other one I would recommend is the Not So Incredible Man Spider. It's the story of the spider that bit Spider-Man, but then got his like lack of abilities that he had as a human. That's another one in a similar vein. They're all different though. Like every January, I do this thing where I write a song every day, and it's like I just try to do something different every day. I don't know what the hell this is going to be, if I'm going to keep this or whatever. The temptation to just like draw a solo on this. Maybe I'll do that and then I'll call it a day for the stream, and then I'll go think, eat something, break out the rolling sound canvas. Yeah, I did. I made the Edward Normal Hands thing an ad. I think it runs. The YouTube algorithm for ads is like, my manager's doing all that, so I know that it's an ad because I spent like $100 on it or whatever. But the way I understand it is you can choose things that are kind of similar to your content and run ads on their stuff. So it's been running on Bill Wirt's stuff, obviously. And it's been like mad overperforming on Bill Wirt's stuff. Like people who are watching A History of the World, if they get Edward Normal Hands as a video, like tons of them are coming to my channel and subscribing, and they like this stuff, which is nice. Though I'm not necessarily trying to like be like Bill Wirtz. I do see the connection. You've seen it as an ad 5 times? Well, see, that's not the kind of algorithm that I want. It's targeting people that are more likely to follow, I guess. I don't know. It sees where people are like liking the video and which ones they're liking, and it just like super targets people automatically. It's very scary. Virtual Contact Factory Library and the EMU Pro TS modules might be a good push, but I haven't tried them yet. Oh, that's me, push. I understand. I'm going to screenshot that. Every time someone has a recommendation in here, I just screenshot it. That's too many times to serve one person an ad, though. Jesus Christ. Just taking my money. Those names came up a lot when I was researching what sounds were used in the early 2000s games, mostly for Nintendo consoles, as did Roland Sound Canvas and Corgan 1. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. The Contact Factory library, eh? I have it. Anyway, I'm going to draw a little solo on this. Ba 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 ba. What do I want? Synth lead. I like this little. Second scale. Do. All right. Wonder if I can get away with. What chords do we have here? Oh no, I want to. Okay. Sort of D majory thing. What's going on over here? Money. Do. Gross. Do. Ugh, this swing thing is so terrible. Doo-doo. Doo-doo. Lots of people have Schmidt. Alright, we'll do modulation first because it came up first. Ugh. triplets. Faster. I don't know why anyone's watching this. This feels like the most boring thing that I could possibly be doing for other people to watch. I have no idea why anyone's here, but thank you for being here. Hell yeah, MIDI drawing. The best way to get the perfect song. Maybe I could do like really hit that modal change with the major third of the E. But let's really draw it out. We're not going to get there for 2 whole 16th notes. Bow. Boo doo 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 doo. Ba ba. Just drawing MIDI like it's a tracker or something. Boy, oh boy. What an entertaining thing to be doing for people. Hey. Ugh. I wish the thing I made yesterday was on stream. It took me like friggin' 45 minutes. I flew through it. Now here I am after 2 hours. Let's do... Yeah, when I draw MIDI, I just like to mess around. Like, I'm going to do some fourths now. So entertaining. Let's do some fourths in E major. That's not a fourth. We're just going to go through the scale in fourths. Ba, ba. The thing that I think is like worst about making music is it's so not performative. Like it's just not, I think it's objectively not entertaining. Which is why I try to make an effort to, maybe if I skip up faster, it's not going up fast enough. I try to make an effort to like talk and say things and be instructive and stuff, but really it's just me sitting here like dragging notes around and seeing what works. I think that if I were to try to be like performative in making the thing, like the music suffers. So this is a very honest look at what I'm doing. Like I love Marc Robier's performance factor, but like I'm not going to sit and listen to his music because it's, you know, it's simple. He makes it in a couple seconds and it's fine. Like it's super high quality for as fast as he makes it, but like, yeah, it takes time. It takes time to make stuff with lots of detail in it. The hell am I doing here? Is that not going to sound nice? I don't know. Yeah, that kind of works. Maybe I can just do like there. That's kind of... And do that crawl up again. Do 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 do. Let's do some sixteenths. Do do do. That's hopeful. Mr. Bill's been doing this. Like, Mr. Bill was the name when I was getting started out, so I imagine he probably goes a lot faster at stuff. Yeah, that's not nothing. That's fine. It's not like... I don't know if I like this one so much. I might just scrap this. And, well, I'm going to save it, but I don't know what I'll do with this. Maybe I'll just draw the stick figure like strutting down the street or something. Copy the solo over. All right. The thing that I think this needs is more hocketiness. It needs more sounds just like happening once. It's got a little bit of that already, but it needs more of it. So let's just make some junk. The place where I always like to go first is the rolling sound canvas. Oh yeah, I'm saving this sound for later. It's not vocal enough. It sort of sounded vocally to me at the time, but let's pull up, I always love this one, pan flute. Turn that delay off. Maybe I'll add some reverb to it. I also like to hear myself talking, so I've only really got one headphone on. Makes it harder to produce when I can't hear. Oh yeah, that's the move. A little pitch bend. That's it. I don't know. We'll see about that one. Ooh, do I have like a trumpet? Oh yeah, let's scroll through some trumpet presets. Is there a trumpet staccato? Like, why can't this be laid out better? Oh, there's a whole thing going on over here. Cheers, Joey. Yeah, I think it's just, after making music for a long time, all of the things that don't serve you, like, you're either going to quit because you're trying to keep them all up or you're going to stop trying to keep them all up. I think that's why people say you just have to do it for a long time. Ah, these sounds suck. Yeah, I can perform a bit with the pitch and the modulation and stuff, but it's just easier. Like I know exactly how, like, where in the 16th note to draw my curves and stuff. So I just like to draw them all. 81. 161, 81. I do a little like dig. Oh, I mean, Sasha, even if you did mean it as a critique, like, so I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do at this point. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Maybe it just needs to be louder, honestly. So I'm gonna turn that up. I'm gonna put some compressor on it so that it doesn't poke out too much. Also, why reverb? Yeah, I should consider editing some of these down to be more like something that someone could casually watch. I don't know. This is the first live stream I've ever done where I made something, so I guess I'll just keep trying it and see what happens. Ugh. What am I going to do with this mess? This could easily... I kind of want to turn this into an Elon Musk diss track, where I just rip into him for trying to take us to space instead of trying to fix Earth. It'd be so much easier to fix Earth than it would be to terraform Mars. And I kind of just want to turn it into that. I feel like that would be a fun direction to take this. The track is kind of whatever, like it's funky and stuff, but it's not like great. It's not like groundbreaking or different or like wildly sonically interesting. Like the sound design is nothing special or anything. So I'm not wild about the track, but it could be a good bed to just rip into Elon Musk, and that'll probably do well on TikTok. What does this mean? Oh, hey, I think the live stream appears to have pushed me over 600,000 views. I just got an email from vidIQ. It looks like it tracks YouTube. 600,000 views. Hooray. Maybe I'll just turn this into an Elon Musk diss track. Kind of like that direction. I assume you're saying that because I just said that and not because it popped up somewhere. Bart. Let's copy this down here. Maybe a little pitch automation. See if that spices this up a bit. This is just tedious stuff. This isn't even really songwriting at this point. Ugh. Why is that happening? That's not right. What half god rot? Oh, I see. Well, that's not going to do then. Do do do. Oh my god. Boop, boop. Da 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 da. All right. Wait, what am I doing? No, don't do that. Da 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 da. Da da. Little 3-beat thing. Let's make a little fill. Snare's going to guide this, obviously. Maybe I'll start with the kick. Stupid quantization. Cheers, Bart. We'll see if this even ends up being the jam. This is like an experiment, basically, in making something in front of a bunch of people who I can't see. Yeah, I'm just kind of messing around now, honestly. This is more of an experiment in streaming than anything. I want to get this fill right. I think maybe thirds is the minor thirds is the way to go here. No, probably not. It's just that there's people. It's weird. It sort of messes with the creative flow. It's a whole world. Did I go up minor thirds? I thought I did. F, G, no, I'm going up by steps. All right, let's go up by steps and see how that sounds. Let's try minor thirds now. This is so great. Technology. This is just so handy. Oh yeah, that gets out. Let's do that up here as well. Yeah, it's sort of it's an interesting experiment because like January is already kind of like that, definitely. 1, 2, 3. Because I have to make something every day and then post it every day. And so there's like a really quick feedback loop. Too soon. There's a really quick feedback thing where I like, you know, by the time I'm writing the next day's song, I've already had like 12 or 13 hours of people commenting and responding to the thing and like the numbers and stuff. So the creative game for January typically has been like just not thinking of that stuff or like paying attention to it, but not like letting it influence the creativity. And streaming what I make just hits the gas on that. Let's double the speed of this hi-hat. What are you trying to say? That's kind of fine. Like, I don't feel like this one's super coming together or anything. Like, I'm not really feeling this one, but it's whatever. For a little bit. Probably going to stop soon. Ugh. Probably go sit down, have a think. YouTube just disconnected automatically. 9 people here, eh? Well, I'm going to go sort of reset. It's been nice having a stream. It's been nice having all of you here. I'm going to go step away from this for a second. Maybe meditate. I'm going to come back and finish the jam later. Maybe finish this one or maybe make something different. But it's been fun having you all here. I hope you enjoyed yourselves or maybe got something out of it or just hung out for a bit. And I I guess I'll do this again next week. Is next week the end of it? It's the 24th now, so I think Sunday is the last day of the month. Oh my God. So next time I'm streaming, I'll do the same thing Sunday next week at 2 p.m. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. Kind of a chill little Sunday afternoon thing. Try to make this more regular, but for now we'll do Sundays at 2. So I'll be back again next Sunday, which will be the last day of January. And then I can focus my full attention on the album release cycle and finishing the last 5% of the album. It's exciting. But thanks for everyone for joining. I'll post this later or post something else later. Have a good rest of your Sunday, whatever time zone you're in, whatever day it is for you. And take care of yourselves, eh? Boop.